Okay, so in this session we'll be discussing about our next ILD. Okay, and basically we divided ILDs into major and rare. In major we have three categories, and the first category that we're dealing with chronic fibrosing ILDs. And in chronic fibrosing ILDs we dealt with the most common ILD overall also, that is your UIP. Okay, in the last section it was a very comprehensive discussion. If you are not gone, I think the sequence that you should go on, you know, in discussing ILDs is a sequence in which these videos have been arranged. So don't just jump on unless you know things. Okay, you can jump on NSIP, DIP, whatever video you want to look at. But if you're a beginner, just because when we discuss UIP or when we discuss idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, it's the basically it forms a foundation of you, because predominantly predominant ILD that you don't want to miss on is UIP. So it's almost like UIP non-UIP thing, okay, rather than multiple ILDs, okay, because the rest of the ILDs, they have the response with steroids is quite good, but in UIP it has very atypical, very um, it's very important to diagnose it. That's why biopsy is recommended. And otherwise, if you look at the other ILDs, these are not such, inferences are not with other ILDs. So let's move on with another ILD, okay, in this chronic fibrosing category, and that is your NSIP. That is your NSIP. Okay. So what is NSIP actually? If we expand it, it is your non-specific interstitial pneumonia. Non-specific interstitial pneumonia. In non-specific interstitial pneumonia, now remember this thing, what is the meaning of the word non-specific? We know what is exactly interstitial pneumonia, no need to go into detail of that. Why it is called to be non-specific? That is first thing. The question arises, what is non-specific? Okay, first question. The first question we need to is non-specific means they are, by word non-specific doesn't mean that it's not as there is no specific diagnosis or something like that. It's actually non-specific histopathology. Okay, so it doesn't have any specific histopathology. That is why non-specific histopathology is used, and that's why the word non-specific comes with it. Okay, it's a specific diagnostic or etiological entity. Okay, it's not it's not something that don't take it to be non-specific diagnosis, rather take it to be non-specific histopathology. Okay, one thing. Now next thing is, what is a histopathology? Then what is a histopathology? So we in UIP we dealt with the spatial and temporal heterogeneity. If you remember, here classically what you have, here you have spatial and temporal homogeneity. Okay, spatial and temporal homogeneity is there. So basically here at this point you have same areas affected in same stages. So there is a uniformity, okay, of histopathology also, that is by position, that is there in spatial homogeneity, and there is a temporal homogeneity, that the stage of disease is also same everywhere. Okay, so that is your and you do not have any specific histopathological signs. Only thing is that you have homogeneity, okay, in the biopsy specimen. Now another important point is that, again, NSIP is something. NSIP is what? It's a histopathological or radiological term. What is the clinical term or the clinical syndrome that it causes? So it is idiopathic NSIP. Okay, we discussed it in the classification video as well. Idiopathic NSIP. Okay, that is your clinical syndrome that it causes. Okay, now another question it is, okay, we have, obviously we're dealing with the idiopathic interstitial pneumonia, so we'll be dealing with idiopathic NSIP. But remember this thing very clearly, in contrast to UIP. When we discuss UIP, we discuss one thing, that 70% cases of UIP are idiopathic, that is IPF, and 30% cases they have a cause. In contrast, NSIP, if you look at the NSIP, the situation is opposite. Okay, rather NSIP is rarely idiopathic. It is rarely idiopathic. Mostly it has a cause. And that is why you should always look for a cause when you have NSIP picture. Whenever you have an NSIP picture, look for a cause, because it's very likely that you will miss a cause, because mostly it is associated with the cause. Okay, so proper history, examination, all those corroborative things that are there, okay, that these are important. So look for a cause. Cause could be collagen vascular disease, and commonly, if you the statement is that most common ILD associated with, okay, collagen vascular diseases is your NSIP only. Okay, that is why the moment you see NSIP and you know already that patient has this particular, let's say patient has SLE, and you did the HRCT, you saw NSIP, you start treatment. You don't even need biopsy, okay, to diagnose NSIP, because it is so commonly associated with these collagen vascular diseases like SLE, scleroderma, that you just simply, when you have already have a diagnosis of collagen vascular disease, patient already diagnosed with SLE, scleroderma, and you did the HRCT, you saw an SIP like picture, you don't even need to go for a biopsy to start treatment. You just simply go ahead with that. So it is that common. Another important aspect that is to be needs to be discussed is about the prognosis in contrast to UIP. In UIP, we discuss a very poor prognosis, but in NSIP, you see the prognosis is very good. Okay, rather if you look at the 5-year survival rate, it's around 80 to 90%. Okay, patients survive. Okay, 80 to 90% cases they survive. And also, uh, other than why it is good prognosis is due to, because response to treatment response to treatment is there, and typically steroids are what we steroids and or steroid sparing agents like cytotoxic drugs are used with it. Okay, so response to treatment is quite good. That's why you have a prognosis, favorable prognosis. Now NSIP, once you know all these facts, okay, NSIP is divided into two types on the basis of its histopathology and radiologically also. One is your cellular NSIP, other is your fibrotic NSIP. Fibrotic. Okay, if you go by the histopathology, what exactly it is? Histopathologically, it is what? It is alveolitis and plus interstitial inflammation. Interstitial inflammation. So interstitial infiltration is there, and interstitial infiltration could be due to cells and could be due to fibrosis. Okay, it could be due to cells, it could be due to fibrosis. Now obviously later stage you will have fibrotic only. Okay, so even cellular later can become fibrotic. Okay, so these are the two types. Okay, now what all features come in cellular, what all features come in fibrotic, we need to decide that. So before we go into that, okay, one thing is left. What is the age group? What is the age group that is affected? Age group is little bit younger than UIP. UIP we talked about more than 60, more than 70 years of age. Okay, like this. Typical elderly patient. But if you go by in UIP, I'm telling, okay, if you go by NSIP, you have a little 1 decade earlier. So it's, the patient is around 40 to 50 years of age. Average age is little bit younger patient. Okay, yeah. Next thing in this NSIP is about the radiology. Okay, look at the radiology, what all findings you have. So in radiology, see, first important thing is distribution. Okay, we discussed lower lobe subpleural area there in UIP. In distribution in NSIP, you can see lower lobes to be predominantly involved in NSIP as well. But remember this thing, Always compare with UIP. NSIP is like a mild version of UIP, I would say, if I'm not wrong. Like lower lobes are predominantly involved in NSIP, and but the important thing is that the apicobasal gradient that was there in UIP is missing here, classically missing. Okay, if you are looking at the classical case of NSIP, you may see that the distribution is also in the upper lobes and it's equal. There is no apicobasal gradient. The obvious apicobasal gradient is not there in NSIP. Okay, you may have a lower lobe predominance. Okay, that is okay, but the disease is predominantly, there is no like clear cut like only lower lobes are involved like this. Okay, so there is a classically missing apicobasal gradient in NSIP. Now, what are the findings? Other findings. So if you talk about the findings, okay, the most important finding that you will find in NSIP and which goes against UIP unless there is acute exacerbation. Okay, the most important finding in NSIP is a ground glassing. You will see ground glassing as a predominant feature of NSIP. So ground glassing would be there. Okay. Next important thing would be fine reticulations. Fine reticulations would be there. Okay, there'll be fine reticulations. Okay, and ground glassing would be there. So remember this thing. Another important point would be, can there be consolidation? Yes, there can be consolidation, but later. Typically, when the disease becomes little moderate to severe, patient can have consolidation as well. Okay, and you have fine reticulations definitely. Third important thing is you can have fine reticulations, and if no, these are the features you see in obviously cellular, because these are due to cellular distribution. But important thing that is there is that fine reticulations are due to fibrosis also or due to cells also, because cell infiltration, fibrosis infiltration can happen depending on that your cellular and fibrotic. But later when fibrosis happens, now the features of fibrosis are, what are the features of fibrosis which suggest fibrosis is there? So one is your secondary to fibrosis, you can have traction bronchiectasis here as well, which suggests, so traction bronchiectasis, although it can happen in both, remember this thing, can in both, it can happen in both cellular as well as fibrotic, remember this thing, but it is commonly in fibrotic. Okay, remember this thing. Now another thing that suggests fibrosis is what? Obviously reticulations, they also suggest fibrosis, and honeycombing. Now important concept comes down here. Okay, do you think that honeycombing is there in NSIP? So answer is that yes, can be. Yes, can be, but very less in severity. Okay, so it is inconspicuous. It is not that classical as you see, on that apparent or that prominent as you see in UIP. So honeycombing can be present, but even if it could be either absent in NSIP or even it is present like at a very mild stage. So the classical word that we use to describe honeycombing in NSIP, we call it to be microcystic honeycombing. Microcystic honeycombing is the word that we use, because the cysts are very small, they are not that large. Okay, they're microcysts, and they're the classical thick walled cyst, sharing wall, that particular feature are not there. Similarly, if you go by, because the fibrosis is not that to that extent. Okay, you do not see fibrosis to that particular extent as you see in UIP. Okay, so remember that thing. Okay, uh, so that was about the honeycombing. So honeycombing can be seen in NSIP, but not to that extent. Now another important point is that, okay, so you have all those, these are all only the features, but one important thing that is there and that is important to discuss is that in 50% cases of NSIP, you see something that is a clinching factor. In 50, although it is seen only in half of the cases of NSIP, but that is a point. If you see that, then it goes against UIP, and that is your subpleural sparing. Subpleural sparing. if you see subpleural sparing in a fibrotic lung disease on HRCT, this favors NSIP and it differentiates NSIP from UIP, subpleural sparing. That immediate to pleura, the area is spared. I'll show this on image also. But remember this thing, it is on 50% case of NSIP. That's why the diagnosis of NSIP and UIP being a differential is very close. And most of the times you need biopsy to rule out UIP, because the features are overlapping. Either it could be because when we did discuss about UIP, we discussed about probable indeterminate. So in those probable or probable or indeterminate cases, there may be overlapping features in NSIP, because in probable, let's say you have a probable UIP case and you also have mild honeycombing, which was mild GGO, which could also be there in probable UIP. In that case, you do not have honeycombing. Now it can be easily mimicked. It can be easily mimicked by NSIP. Now a differential diagnosis of a probable UIP could easily be NSIP, and in that case you have to, by guidelines, you have to go for a biopsy to rule out, because it's very important to rule out UIP. Okay, if had it been NSIP, we don't know. So the answer is always that when you have an ILD, you rule out UIP first and then you look for other ILDs, because ruling out a UIP is very important in the management of an ILD. That is why. So there is a very close race between NSIP and UIP. Their findings are very overlapping, but there are few classical features. If they are present, they can give rise a typical NSIP case also. But things are not like this. Okay, so we discussed about all the radiological features of NSIP. Okay, reticulations, consolidations, GGOs, and typical there is no distribution. Okay, and these all findings GGOs are more common, quite a common feature of NSIP. And similarly, another important thing is that you can also see micronodules. Micronodules is also something you see there in NSIP. Okay, is one thing that was there. Rest all we have discussed. Okay, traction bronchitis, all these fibrotic features are less common in NSIP, but you have. So all those, among all these features we discussed, what all features suggest fibrotic. So honeycombing you will see honeycombing. If you see in NSIP, microcystic honeycombing or whatever, if you see honeycombing in NSIP, what type of honeycomb NSIP it would be? It would be fibrotic type. Okay. Similarly, if you look at the traction bronchiectasis, it is more common in fibrotic. So traction bronchiectasis, honeycombing, it goes in favor of fibrotic. If you see ground glassing only or fine reticulation, okay, these are only these two are seen, then it looks like cellular, or it is cellular NSIP. Okay, if you see fibrosis, element of fibrosis, then it most likely is fibrotic NSIP. So I have discussed almost everything about it. Now look at the image. Okay, now look at the image. So this is the image. Now what you see, first of all, always look according to the protocol that we've discussed. So whenever we discuss, we look at the ILD, the first thing is that whether it's a UIP or not. So the moment you see GGO, the moment you see GGO, and here you can see that you are seeing GGOs, and these GGOs are widespread. Although and what part of lung we are dealing with? We are dealing with the lower lobes only. You see diaphragm coming up. We're dealing with the lower lobe of the lungs. Bilateral. We see widespread GGO. The moment see widespread GGO, this is a factor that goes against UIP. It goes against UIP. This much GGO will never happen in UIP. Okay. It will be CT features inconsistent with the UIP. It goes with that particular category. And you do not see any honeycombing also. So honeycombing is also absent. Okay, so it's against UIP, first thing. Now you see GGOs, widespread GGOs in the base of the lungs. You also see little bit of the traction bronchiectasis here. So we are seeing traction bronchiectasis here also. And if you see closely, there are small cysts. There are small cysts like this. There are small cysts scattered there, but there are no definite honeycombing that is seen there. And if we look closely, if you look closely, okay, I can zoom it also for you. See, if you look closely, look at this part. Look at this part. This part of subpleural area here. This part of subpleural area. Look at this particular part. You can see that immediate millimetric size, in 1 to 2 millimeter of subpleural area, it's not involved. Immediate subpleural area. It's a very subtle finding, not involved, which favors it to be, NSIP. So it's a, now you see there are small features, this is also fibrosis, okay, causing traction. So you can see traction bronchiectasis is there, but it looks more like, fibrosis is not that much. There are fine articulations, there are GGOs, there is no honeycombing. It looks most likely a cellular type of NSIP, and you can call it to be a typical classical case of NSIP because these are among the 50% cases of NSIP which do have subpleural sparing. Okay, now let's look at the other case. Now this case also, you see here again, you can see classical subpleural sparing is there. Classical subpleural sparing. It's quite visible at this point. See this. Look at this. Subpleural sparing there. This subpleural sparing is there. So it goes in favor of NSIP. Now this is your GGO, okay, and you are seeing septal thickening also. This is a septal thickening. Okay, you are seeing fissure is also a little bit thickened. So the picture looks like to be, reticulations are there and less of the GGOs. It looks most like fibrotic. Okay, although I couldn't see much of the traction. Bronchiectasis is also there. Okay, honeycombing is not seen. Okay, so these are, goes in favor of NSIP rather than UIP. But definitely, in real life, life is always gray. There is no black or white thing. Okay, so definitely you can have things in which you may need biopsy to rule out UIP. Biopsy is important in ruling out UIP rather than diagnosing NSIP. Okay, that was all about NSIP. Thank you. In the next session, we are going to discuss about organizing pneumonia. Okay.